So you just purchased Marvel Tokon and are looking forward to mashing buttons with some of your favorite Marvel characters. Cool! You turn the game on, enter training mode to learn some dope combos, and feel like you're ready for an online match. Super cool! You find an opponent online and think you're really cool hot stuff, but then you get your butt kicked. Not cool. You make an angry Twitter post asking Marvel Tokon players for advice, but then a bunch of them respond with words you don't understand like frame data, assemble counter, RNG, meaty, just guard, shimmy, frame trap.
First of all, you're throwing too many big words at me. Okay, now, because I don't understand them, I'm gonna take them as disrespect. Watch your mouth.
Super not cool. You see, every fighting game has a bunch of vocabulary terms that you need to be accustomed to. Not only will it make you more knowledgeable at the game, but it will also help you communicate with other players. There's actually been so many times where I've seen people mix up some words and mechanics from Marvel Tokon, so I took it upon myself to share with you guys 50 plus important Marvel Tokon terms that you need to know. Also, before I continue on, make sure to pause the video and get comfortable with the current controls of the game. Additionally, when I mention the term D-pad throughout the video, I'm talking about the directional pad on the controller. This is pressing forward on the D-pad, this is pressing back on the D-pad, and so on. But with all that said, let's start listing the 50 plus important Marvel Tokon terms that you need to know. Vital Gauge. This is what the game's health bar is called. Unlike other team games where each character has separate health bars, Tokon has it so that the entire team only shares one health bar. So when this health bar is depleted, the entire team is killed. Assemble Gauge. This is the green gauge below the Vital Gauge and is used for assist-based mechanics such as crossover, crossover reflect, assemble smash, assemble counter, and assemble rush, which I will all mention later. The Assemble Gauge has 3 slots and you unlock a slot when you wall break opponents, wall splat them, or lose a round. Skill Gauge. The orange bar on the bottom of the screen that fills up to 150, which is needed to use the heavy version of your character's skills and super attacks. Shooter Assist. This is your first assist, which sends out a horizontal attack when you press forward on the D-pad and the assemble button simultaneously. Vertical Assist. This is your second assist, which launches an attack that hits upwards to challenge aerial opponents. Calling out these vertical assists must be done by pressing down on the D-pad and the assemble button simultaneously. Assault Assist. Your third assist that does different things depending on the character, hence why it's also called Unique Assist. These particular assists are done by pressing back on the D-pad plus the assemble button at the same time. Aerial Assist. By super jumping and pressing the assemble button in the air, you'll get an aerial assist that sends out a diagonal attack. Block. A defensive ability that prevents or reduces damage. There is a standing version that is done by holding back on the D-pad, a crouching version where you have to hold down plus back on the D-pad, and an air version where you hold back just like you do on the standing version. Skills. These are your character's special moves. Each one has light, medium, and heavy versions, and the heavy version uses the skill gauge. Super Skill, a super attack that costs 50% in the skill gauge. Ultimate Skill, a super attack that does even more damage than super skills and costs 100% of the skill gauge. Tokon Assemble. This is an all-out team-up attack that requires 150% of the skill gauge and is only available when losing the current round would end the match. So it's essentially your quote-unquote comeback mechanic. Normal attacks. By pressing the light attack, medium attack, and heavy attack buttons, you'll get a basic attack. Your light attack button brings out your light attack normal, your medium attack button brings out your medium attack normal, and so on. There are also crouching and jumping variations of these attacks, such as your crouching light attacks and jumping heavy attacks. Unique Attack. Activated by pressing the Unique Attack button, you will perform actions distinct to a character's abilities. For example, Star-Lord shoots his gun elements, Magneto throws objects, and Wolverine does his Berserker abilities. RNG, standing for Random Number Generator, is a term used to describe any element in the game that changes in an unpredictable way. If we look at Penny's Unique Attack Gadget Launcher, it's actually RNG because she sends out gadgets that appear randomly. You will never know which gadget will come out. Install, a powered up state some characters can enter by using their super meter that will change move properties, give them way more damage, and maybe even grant new moves entirely. Most installs are on a timer like Magic's Darkchild Ultimate Skill. Flight Mode describes the ability to fly in the air. Characters like Star-Lord, Doctor Doom, Iron Man, and Magneto have flight mode in their moveset. Air Assemble Smash, a game mechanic in Marvel Tokon that allows you to go through projectiles by pressing light attack plus the assemble button at the same time. It uses 1 bar of the assemble gauge. Dash, the ability to quickly move forward or backward as opposed to just walking. Some characters in Tokon can run, while others have a simple dash that they have to keep doing. Air Dash, a movement technique that allows an airborne character to move forward or backward in the air. Some characters have air dashes that allow them to move diagonally as well. Super Jump, a jump with increased height that has to be inputted by pressing down, then quickly pressing up. Cross-up, a mix-up that hits an opponent on the opposite side with the intention of tricking the opponent into blocking the wrong direction. Super armor, a state where a character still takes damage on attacks, but the attacks don't cause them to flinch at all, completely armoring through it. Combo. Simply put, a combo is a sequence of hits that the opponent will be unable to get out of once the first hit lands. Not every hit will combo into another hit, so make sure to get into training mode and see what combos into what. Happy Birthday, a combo that hits 2 or more characters at the same time, dealing way more damage. Air Tech, a special action that allows a player to recover faster in midair after being hit, usually used after a combo is dropped. Blue Combo. This is an air combo that the opponent could have air teched out of or escaped, but they didn't. The combo counter turns blue to indicate that this has happened. Damage Scaling, a system that reduces the damage for each hit in the combo more and more as the combo gets longer. Super Assemble, the ability to combo one super skill into another by pressing any direction on the D-pad, depending on which assist you want to come out to do their super, plus the assemble button. Doing these costs 50% of the skill gauge and 1 bar of the assemble gauge. You'll also hear people call this a DHC, which is short for Delayed Hyper Combo. It came from the Marvel vs. Capcom games where you could perform one super after another, and other team games just adopted the term DHC as well. Cancel, the action of removing the recovery of an attack so that you can transition immediately into another move. The most common instance of this is canceling a normal attack into a skill. Block Stun, the period of time when your character cannot perform any action after blocking an attack. When your character leaves the blocking animation, that means you are no longer in block stun. Overhead, any attack that hits people while they are crouching. Jumping attacks also count as overheads. Low, alternative to overheads, low attacks will hit people that are standing, so watch those feet and block low. Ground Assemble Smash, a mechanic that lets you armor through the opponent's hits at the start and is also an overhead attack. This costs 1 bar of the assemble gauge to do, but pressing the assemble button will give you follow-ups that use the assemble gauge as well. Cross-up Protection. Cross-up Protection is a system mechanic in Marvel Tokon where you will automatically block attacks that happen behind you while you're dealing with an attack in front of you. This happens when both your opponent and their assist character are taking turns attacking you very fast, so the developers added a cross-up protection to prevent players from feeling overwhelmed. However, cross-up protection goes away a little bit after the opponent leaves block stun, so if you want to do left-right mix-ups, you have to instead start the mix-up a little bit before the opponent leaves block stun. Assemble Rush. Pressing the assemble button after your lead character lands an attack or bring in an ally to perform a lunging attack called Assemble Rush. This costs 1 bar of the assemble gauge to do. Keep in mind that you can use other assists aside from Assemble Rush after your lead character lands an attack. Block String. A series of attacks that land on a blocking opponent that do not give the opponent a chance to attack themselves. It's basically a combo on block. Frame data. Frame data is a way of measuring how long every move takes in a fighting game. Frame data can teach you a lot of things in fighting games in general, such as what is plus on block. Simply put, it's an attack that is advantageous on block. When the game comes out, you should be able to go into training mode, turn on frame data option in the menu, and see which attack is plus on block. Knowing which attacks are plus on block will allow you to pull off frame traps. Frame traps are a powerful concept in fighting games where if you do an advantageous attack on the opponent's block, you get to attack before the opponent does, which causes them to get counter hit afterward if they try to attack. If we relate it to block strings, it's as if you purposefully allowed a quote-unquote hole in the block string that gives the opponent a chance to press a button, but your next attack will come out before theirs do. Stagger. Delaying a normal attack a bit after your previous one to catch your opponent mashing a button. You basically leave gaps between your attacks in tricky and unpredictable ways so your opponent thinks they're free to attack. Throw. Blocking deals with all attacks, but it won't beat throws. Pressing the medium and heavy attack buttons simultaneously will throw the opponent and send them flying away. Throw tech. This is the act of defending against a throw by pressing the throw input at the same time as your opponent tries to throw you. Command grab. Command grabs function the exact same way as throws, except you cannot throw tech them. Shimmy. A movement technique where a player pretends to approach the enemy for a throw, but walks or dashes backwards at the last second to stay out of the opponent's throw range, making the opponent be tricked into whiffing a throw. Chip damage. Damage dealt to players blocking skills and supers. Upon blocking these kinds of attacks, you'll acquire something called recoverable life. Through the damage you've taken from the chip, it will add gray life to your health bar. This is recoverable life that you can get back, as your health will gradually increase up to the point where the recoverable life ends. Invincibility. A period of time where a character cannot be hit depending on what they are invincible to at that moment. For example, some attacks are invincible to projectiles while others are invisible to attacks. Ground tech. A special action a player can take when they are knocked down that moves the character in a specific direction and gives them a short period of invisibility. Characters can either roll right, roll left, or stand up in place. Wall break. This is the part of the game where if you do any attack that sends your opponent flying horizontally, like throws, Captain America's Freedom Charge, or Ghost Rider's Judgment Cradle, you will send them to the next part of the stage. Upon doing this, you will gain an extra character if needed, recoverable life, an increase in your super and EX meter, 1 bar of the assemble gauge, and a hard knockdown. After you land a super attack or wall break, the opponent is put in a special knockdown state where they cannot ground tech left or right. Their teching options are limited. After a wall break, this is the chance where you can do a meaty. A meaty is an attack that hits an opponent on the very first frame possible after they rise from a knockdown. If they press any random button, they will get hit. Active tag. This is a mechanic that lets you switch to your on-screen assist character at any time, even while your main character is in the middle of an attack. You can do this by pressing the tag button, then quickly throwing out an attack before the game automatically switches to your next character, or you can call an assist, let them do their assist attack, then throw out your attack and tag into them. Wall splat. If you do any attack that sends your opponent flying horizontally at the true corner of the stage, they will be wall splatted. Leaving them there will cause them to wall slump and they will actually be in a hard knockdown state. Link attack. Link attacks are essentially the auto combos of the game where you can mash the light, medium, or heavy attack buttons to get combos. You can even change routes midway during the link attack. For example, you can do 2 light attacks, then do a medium and heavy attack afterward. Slam launcher. This is the crouching version of your heavy attack that will send the opponent flying into the air where you can go for an air combo. Punish. A punish is what happens when you attack someone when they are in the recovery of a move and are unable to block the next hit. Examples of this include making the opponent whiff an attack and then hitting them before they can recover, or blocking a very unsafe move and earning some big damage. Just guard. Just guarding is when you time your block right before the opponent's attack touches you. Timing your just guard will prevent you from taking chip damage. Assemble counter. A mechanic in Marvel Tokon that counters both strikes and projectiles. Pressing back on the D-pad, the light attack button, and the assemble button at the same time will activate it, and it requires 1 bar of the assemble gauge. Crossover. This is essentially a get off me mechanic that you can use on defense. By pressing light attack plus the assemble button at the same time while you are blocking, an assist will come out and send the opponent flying away. This uses 1 bar of the assemble gauge. Crossover reflect. If the opponent is prepared for you to go for a crossover, they can activate a crossover reflect to negate the situation by pressing light attack plus the assemble button. This also uses 1 bar of the assemble gauge. Perfect reflect. If you execute a crossover reflect at the perfect timing, it is called a perfect reflect. Successfully pulling this off will prevent the opponent from summoning assists for a duration. And there you have it, folks. Those are all the terms you need to know to start you off in playing or watching Marvel Tokon. If you feel there are any terms that I missed in this video, be sure to mention it in the comments below. I also have a written version of these terms that you guys can keep for yourselves, so please enjoy that. But with all that said, thank you guys for watching, and as always, have yourself a blessed day.